Hey, good evening, ladies and fellow travelers upon the sea. A lot of people have been asking a lot of questions about what in the world we're doing, Harvey Cross, myself, and others. It's a vision that I had well over 15 years ago when we would have our every 10-year high school reunion, and Jay and Nancy Condon were really so gracious to work the field because they lived in Darien and get some of these off the ground. This will be actually our 55th if we were to have an isolated 1967 high school reunion. But I came up with the idea, and Harvey concluded as well because he's got a lot of experience. He and his wife have a lot of experience cruising. And the thing that I would find missing was all the talent of all the people, all of our classmates, in fact, the entire town of Darien. We shared a lot. We have had very famous people that live there, uh, people that have attended colleges and have had careers all over the world. And there's never been a real sense of how do you spend a weekend and really relax enough to really get to know somebody that you would never have ever actually spent much time talking to or schmoozing with in the grocery store. So this affords that opportunity with not just people that are from Darien, but even somebody that might know you from Stanford in your days. Maybe you worked at the Stanford Hospital. Maybe you lived in Ridgefield, as I did, with my former wife, the mother of my children, and the family that she came from, where she migrated up from Stanford and became a attendee at the Ridgefield High School, where Bill Lord, a friend of mine that I just found out had passed away. Bill was, he worked as an advertising agent for Acorn Press, owned by the Tom Nash family. And Jacqueline Boring, went to the to the Ridgefield High School class of 1972 and was a good friend of, well, somebody that Tom wanted to date. I met Tom through tennis, and he told me things about how she was looked upon in such a favorable light, and she was cute and pretty, and everybody wanted to date with her. And insights like that were just so cool. And to have three children with her, wonderful children, and now almost four granddaughters. My daughter Jessica will be having a baby in September. I don't think she's going to bring the baby on the cruise, but it's the inspiration of my three children telling them bedtime stories because they just insisted, and I would make these things up. And that's where Rumble in the Jungle came from. Jessica the giraffe. Jessica's my daughter. She'll be turning 42. Joshua the jaguar. He's turning 40 in September. And my son Timothy, who is a paramedic in Sarasota County, he is a fireman and a nurse practitioner. I don't know how he has the energy and the push and the drive to not sleep. And I said to him one day when he kind of fell while he was skiing for the first time. He and his wife are competitive volleyball players, beach volleyball, which is big in Sarasota, and on the beaches. And he is 37, and I'm 73. And I said, reverse the numbers, Tim. Don't wind up trying so hard to get to a place where you can retire and but be um, unable to enjoy your retirement because you're sick. My good friend Bill Lord, and when I found out, I wept. I really did. He he had, in our younger years, with the flip chart, told me all about how I needed to put my money away through life insurance because he worked for New York Life but never heard anything like that. He was right. I wish I'd done everything he told me to do, but I didn't. I couldn't. I was a painting contractor, and I didn't have a good self image of myself coming from Darien. I was working in people's homes, working for people that didn't always appreciate the people that built the streets, washed their cars, painted their homes. And so I didn't have a good self image, and I didn't go to college. And Bill became an alcoholic, and because of the paper and the pressure of the paper, he made it through that. He made it through the 12-step program just to see him at the 50th holding an oxygen bag, needing oxygen. He wanted me to buy a life insurance policy, but he didn't have the health to make it to the 55th. Apparently, he died this last November. It's irony. I don't want to continue to read obituaries. I want to see Bill Dems. I knew Bill. We went to the dances, and they were the Starlighters. I wanted to see all the guys that I grew up around that were musicians. George Howe, my gosh, George and Rick, they were the Everly Brothers in Hollow Tree. Stephen Gidley was my competitor. I didn't like him because he was threatening to be doing better work than me. So I was out to prove that I could do better work than him. Competition's a good thing. Steve today is telling me stories about his dad, who was shot down in Germany. So was my dad. We didn't know that about each other. My dad became a raging, unfortunate alcoholic because they did not share these things whatsoever. When they came out of the war, and we were the baby boomers, we were born with these silver spoons in our mouths, and we didn't pay any attention to David Wilkerson and others who said, marijuana is the gateway drug. It is, even today, being made legal. Ooh, it's not what people think it is, but if it does calm people down and it does help them, well, then so be it. I'm not going to judge it. I just know my experience. I took LSD once. I was smart enough not to ever take it again. Remember, Art Linkletter's daughter ran and jumped out a window. DMT. Oh, some friends of mine know what that was. It was what was called the recreational hallucinogen. It was intense. One time. And I smoked a lot of pot when I, to try to tolerate things, but I would get paranoid constantly. Do you like me? I don't know if you do like me. And one time, took 8 brownies. It was so intense. I just wanted to come down from it. I actually threw up the first time I got stoned. And Bobby Weir's, he didn't own the GTO. He had the Super Sport. But who could afford even a car? My first car was a 1964 Corvair. Oh, man, what a car. You could plow through that because of the weight in the back of the car and the engine would give you the ability for traction. My sister wanted to borrow it one night. I let her borrow it. She got drunk with her friends, and she was going too fast around a corner on Hollow Tree, and it went into a stone wall. My sister took away, and it's not her fault, but she didn't understand how hard I'd worked for that. We all have stories like that in our families. We have fun stories. Lisa Coulter told me all kinds of stories. These are the people that I grew up with. People who were in Little League, people who were in the Brownies, people who were in the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We are not trying to compete with classes that already have plans. We want to provide a place to keep planning and planning. We're going to do this annually. All high school Darien and in all of your friends. You could have just gone through Darien for 1 hour. You get to come. Just tell us. Yeah, I know Darien. We're going to give you a test. Do you remember when the trucks would hit the overpass, trying to get under the overpass, not having measured their trucks? Bam! You couldn't get through, so they would take the air out of the tires so you could back out. That's kind of funny. Do you remember when I-95 came through there? Do you remember when the bridge fell? I do, down here in Florida when it happened on the Skyway Bridge. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about enough. It's October 14th through the 17th, 2022 in Cape Canaveral, Port Canaveral. It's really easy to get to. You don't even have to go on the ship if you don't want to. We'll be having parties before they get on and when you get off. You can stay here for a whole week. We will have an itinerary for anybody who wants to do anything. We're supposed to be retired, right? Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Mickey Mouse. Bye-bye. And this is not Old Yeller, and we're not going to shoot our doggie just because our doggie has rabies. And it's not the sadness of what happened to Dumbo. He did fly, and he was a hit. Amen, everybody. You can call me if you'd like. 941-223-5238. I'll pick up if I'm not driving Miss Daisy or singing the song that Harry Chapin wrote about the taxi. Bye-bye.